Mastering data processor obligations. Only one executive holds the reins to data protection excellence. Who within the data processors organization is responsible for developing, implementing, and maintaining policies and procedures that ensure compliance with relevant data protection regulations and standards, and what are the specific measures in place to guarantee operational excellence in this regard. Within the data processors organization, the responsibility for developing, implementing, and maintaining policies and procedures that ensure compliance with relevant data protection regulations and standards lies with the Data Protection Officer, DPO, in collaboration with the senior management team. The DPO is a designated expert responsible for overseeing and advising on all matters related to data protection. To guarantee operational excellence, the DPO has developed and implemented a comprehensive data protection policy that outlines the data processor's commitment to protecting personal data and sets out the procedures for ensuring compliance with relevant regulations and standards. The policy is communicated to all employees and made available to relevant stakeholders, including data controllers and data subjects. The senior management team is responsible for allocating sufficient resources and budget to support the implementation and maintenance of the data protection policy and procedures. This includes providing training and awareness programs for employees, establishing a network of data protection champions across the organization, and allocating sufficient resources to maintain and update the organization's data processing systems and infrastructure. To ensure operational excellence, the data processor has implemented the following specific measures. 1. Data protection policy management. The DPO is responsible for reviewing and updating the data protection policy annually, or as needed, to ensure it remains compliant with relevant regulations and standards. The policy is made available to all employees through the organization's intranet, and new employees are required to complete a data protection awareness training program as part of their onboarding process. 2. Data protection training and awareness. The data processor provides regular data protection training and awareness programs for employees to ensure they understand their roles and responsibilities in protecting personal data. The training programs are designed to equip employees with the knowledge and skills necessary to identify and report data protection risks and incidents. 3. Data Protection Champions Network. The data processor has established a network of data protection champions across the organization to provide localized support and guidance on data protection matters. The champions are responsible for promoting data protection best practices, identifying data protection risks and opportunities for improvement, and providing feedback to the DPO. 4. Data protection risk management. The data processor has implemented a data protection risk management framework to identify, assess, and mitigate data protection risks. The framework includes procedures for conducting data protection impact assessments, risk assessments, and data protection audits. 5. Data protection incident response. The data processor has developed and implemented a data protection incident response plan to ensure prompt and effective response to data protection incidents, including personal data breaches. The plan outlines the procedures for identifying, reporting, and responding to incidents, and for notifying regulatory authorities and data subjects as required. 6. Data protection audits and monitoring. The data processor conducts regular data protection audits and monitoring to ensure compliance with relevant regulations and standards. The audits and monitoring activities are designed to identify areas for improvement and to ensure that the data protection policy and procedures are being followed. 7. Data protection continuous improvement. The data processor has implemented a continuous improvement program to ensure that the data protection policy and procedures are reviewed and updated regularly to reflect changes in regulations, standards, and best practices. The program includes a mechanism for employees to provide feedback and suggestions for improving data protection practices. 8. Vendor management. The data processor has implemented a vendor management program to ensure that third-party vendors and service providers comply with the organization's data protection policy and procedures. The program includes procedures for assessing the data protection practices of vendors and service providers, and for ensuring that contracts and agreements include adequate data protection provisions. 9. Data protection reporting. The data processor has implemented a data protection reporting mechanism to ensure that data protection incidents and issues are reported to senior management and regulatory authorities as required. The reporting mechanism includes procedures for reporting data protection metrics and key performance indicators. 10. Data protection governance. The data processor has established a data protection governance framework to ensure that data protection is integrated into the organization's overall governance structure. The framework includes procedures for ensuring that data protection is considered in decision-making processes and that data protection risks are escalated to senior management as necessary. By implementing these measures, the data processor has demonstrated its commitment to operational excellence in ensuring compliance with relevant data protection regulations and standards. The data processor's data protection program is designed to be proactive, responsive, and transparent, and to ensure that personal data is protected throughout the entire data processing life cycle.